Hello everyone, this is More Games and welcome back to another video after however many months of not uploading, and today we are playing some F1 2021. Now, this is going to be my first video on F1 2021 and hopefully something I will be doing more in the future. And this is one of the league races that I've done recently. This is BLR Season 2 Round 1. And it's the first round of the season, so I'm looking to do well and to compete for the championship in this league. So you can see it's going to be a two-stop in this race, soft, medium. And let's see what we can do as we have 4, 5 red lights. They're gone and we're away. So starting from P3 on the grid, it's not the best of starts that I've ever had. It looks like Dan Cookieman in the Ferrari is going to overtake us for P3. We're going to try have a little look down the inside. It's 3 wide into turn 1. What can we do with this situation? And it looks like we've actually made contact on our outside. We have to go off of the track to actually stay in this race. So we're in P4. We've lost 1 position off of the start now. What can we do on this first lap? And as you can see, a couple of the guys battling up at the head, a couple of guys retiring in the back, and coming into these few corners, let's see what we can do. As it looks like Petiqui in P2, and we're actually going to go for a massive dive bomb down into this hairpin. What can we do with the traction? We don't have the best of traction, so we're not going to make that overtake stick. What can we do into this turn? We're going to stick behind him, and it looks like that Mercedes is getting very feisty and trying to overtake that Red Bull on this first lap to gain that track position. So in P4 now, we've lost 1 position off the start. We're just going to stick in behind the Ferrari and wait for DRS on lap 3 and see what we can do from there. So in this early stage of the race, it's not the best of starts, but that's okay because I know I can make a comeback in this race. But one thing I need to mention before this race gets, well, it's already gotten underway, but one thing I need to mention is I'm not actually using a setup in this race. So I have a default setup, so I'm about 0.5 to a full second slower than the rest of these guys. But I was hoping for a top 5 in this race to see. That would help me out a lot. Damage limitation and all that. And it looks like Gaming McNeils is going to try go down our inside into this next turn. The question is, can he make the move stick? The answer is yes, he can, because we have to lift in that corner because we don't want the same thing to happen as it did on lap 1 where we had to make contact and go off the track. So what can we do? We're going to go down the inside now into this turn 4, and it looks like we might actually make the move stick going down the inside into a very dodgy spot in this track, and you can see almost spinning the car, but we keep it on the track, so we're still in this race. We've lost another position and we're down to P5 now, but it looks like we've broken DRS to P6 behind. So it's just us top 5 guys now, and we're going to have to see how far away we can get from the rest of the grid, and we can see if we can overtake these guys or not, even without a setup. It's going to be a very difficult race from here, but we'll have to see, because the guys ahead are very pacey, and even this guy in front of me has more pace than me at this time. So all we can do now is try and hang in the DRS and let these guys basically pull us along until the pit stop stages. So right now the strategy is, as I have just said, we're going to go on to the softs, and we might go for an undercut in this race to see what we can do. And moving on to the next lap, we're going to see how this gap evolves against the guy ahead of me. And we've lost 0.2 this lap, but we now have DRS. But the very next lap, we've actually lost the DRS to Gaming McNeils in the Alpine. So we are now outside of the DRS, as we have a little bit of a moment coming out of turn 1 there. We have lost the DRS, and we are going to be a lot slower than these guys, and you're going to see it for the rest of the race. But we're going to skip on a few laps, and we're going to actually go to lap 7, where I decide to go for the undercut onto a new set of soft compound tires. So hoping that the pace will actually be better on these soft tires. Or actually no, I've gone for the mediums. I forgot what happened in this race. We've gone onto medium tires, and we're going to be on softs at the very end of the race to finish out nice and strong, hopefully go for a fastest lap. So you can see here, after going on to medium tires, we are going to filter out into P7 in this race, right behind Ninja Skreddle in the Williams, if I'm not mistaken. So we are in P6. The guys around us have a couple of track limit 3-second time penalties. So this guy ahead of us is technically behind us after he applies penalties. And as you can see, we are now into the DRS, just 6/10 behind Ninja Screddle in the Williams, and right ahead of him is Bad Jack, and up ahead of us Luke in the Red Bull has actually spun off, so that's going to be a free position for us as we move up into P6, as someone else must have overtaken me. But it looks now that we're going to try and go for a move on Ninja Screddle on this main straight. Let's see, are we going to go down the inside? We're not using any of the overtake. You can see his red light is flashing. He is under 10% ERS, and we're going to make the move stick, and we're going to put it back onto the racing line. Now the next person we need to overtake here is Bad Jack. Can we get him in the second DRS zone? Can we get 2 overtakes in just 4 corners? We're going to have to see. Let's see, with the DRS, not using any of the ERS, so we're deciding not to go too aggressive here, going a bit conservative. As you can see, lagging all over the place, and coming into these few turns, he doesn't have the best exit. We are right behind him. We set a purple sector 1. What can we do into this hairpin? Are we going to go for another dive bomb? The answer is yes. We go for another dive bomb this race, and that is P4 for the take. And he tries to go for the switchback. He has good traction. We use a bit of the overtake, going down the inside into this turn, braking very early so we can leave the space, and it looks like we are going to be in P4 in this race as we get the DRS, and he is not going to be able to fight back from that. So we are now in P4 in this race with a purple sector 1, which is very confidence inspiring, and knowing that I am the fastest driver on track at this time. But it looks like the guys up ahead have not actually pit yet, and as we move on to lap 10, they're deciding to box, and at this time I thought that was a very, very weird time to box, as usually you only want the soft tires for about 7 or 9 laps. So they're going to go on lap 10, and they're going on to the mediums just like me. So we're going to have to see where they filter out. Can we get ahead of them with the power of the undercut of the fresh medium compound of tires? So let's see now. And it looks like the Mercedes of Piqui has gotten out ahead of us, but it looks like we're going to be battling Gaming McNeils in the Alpine down into turn 1. We're going to go around the outside. We make the move stick. We are now up into P3 in this race, but P1 has not boxed yet. He is still on those soft tires on lap 11. It looks like he might be going for the one stop in this race. Moving on later in the lap, it looks like he has actually boxed for hard compound tires. So it looks like Dan Cookieman is going to be going for the one stop in this race from soft to hards, and it looks like we're actually under pressure from Gaming McNeils. He has the DRS, he has the fresher tires, and he is going to overtake us and reclaim the racing line. And it looks like we're going to have to go around the outside of Dan Cookieman. I actually don't notice him, and we make a little bit of contact into turn 1. Hopefully I didn't break his wing, and we now have the DRS on Gaming McNeils, but you can already see he's lost me by about 9/10, and moving on to the second half of the lap, he has set the fastest lap, and we have lost DRS to him. So we have nowhere near as much pace as the guys ahead without a setup. So this first race so far is not going terribly, but it's not going as well as I wanted it to. P3 in this race, but we still have to make an extra stop compared to Dan Cookieman, who is on the hard compound tires and does not have to make an extra stop in this race. So we are currently in P3 in this race, and we're not doing too badly for ourselves, but we might be doing badly in a second, as Dan Cookieman is going to try go down our inside with the hard tires and braking a little too late, exceeding the track limits and making contact with Dan Cookieman. And with the default setup, it actually gives you 80% brake pressure, so my brakes are not as heavy as they could be as we check the vehicle condition.
Everything's looking good.
No, it does not sound like we have wing damage, so we are okay in this race. We are now in P4 right behind Dan Cookieman. Let's see, are we going to go for another dive bomb on him as he's all over the place? And yes, we are. This is the third dive bomb this race into that hairpin. Traction on this corner is not amazing, even though we have the better tires, and looks like he is going to get the position for this corner, but we now have the DRS on Dan Cookieman. Can we do anything with that? I don't think we can. We don't use any of the ERS, so we're going to back off for this lap. But moving on to the later part of the lap, it looks like we are right behind Dan Cookieman. He does not have the DRS on Gaming McNeils ahead, so we have the DRS on him and he does not. So what are we going to do? Coming down into turn 1, we don't use any of the ERS, but we have more straight line speed with the power of the DRS. So coming into turn 1, we actually reclaim the racing line after making the move stick. So as we have actually a very big moment there. Jesus, sliding all over the place, and it looks like Dan Cookieman has the DRS on this lap. We're going to defend the inside. We want to maintain this position, braking nice and late, and it looks like we are going to defend this position. So we are still in P3 in this race, doing pretty nicely for ourselves. He has a little look down our inside, and does he think about making a dive bomb on us like we did in the hairpin many times? It looks like he does not. So we are going to take P3 in this race as we're a bit slidey on the exit once again. Moving on to lap 15, and as you can see, we are not even close to the DRS of Gaming McNeil's, and Dan Cookieman is just 2/10 behind with the DRS now. What is he going to do? He is going to overtake us. So we are just switching positions here, which is gaining us a little bit of time. And are we going to brake late and bash into him once again? No, we are not. We like to brake nice and early when someone's in front of us nowadays. So Dan Cookieman in P3, us in P4. We still need to make one more stop, so we are not going to really be battling Dan Cookieman, I don't think, as we have a little look around the outside, and there is an exceeding the track limits warning, and that gives us a 3-second time penalty, which is going to give us a big disadvantage, as Dan Cookieman does not have a 3-second time penalty, and it looks like we're not going to be going down the inside into this hairpin as we both go a bit deep. But now we move on to lap 19, and we have to be boxing soon to go onto these soft tires for our last stint of the race, and it looks like we are going to be boxing this very lap. So we're going to go onto the soft compound tires. We're going to see what we can do on these tires. Can we go for fastest lap, and can we catch up to Dan Cookieman to get that last spot on the podium? And before we do all that, we're going to have to see where we filter out after we make our pit stop. So coming out of the pit lane now, we have Bo Hop and Bad Jack right behind us. Can we get out in front of them? That would be crucial if we can. Coming out of the pit lane, turning off the pit limiter now. Where are we? It looks like we are going to be ahead of Bo Hop in the Red Bull. So we are now P4 in this race, and it's a 22-second gap to Dan Cookieman ahead. So this is going to be a difficult race, and as we move through the laps, you can see the gap evolve. It's now 20 seconds at the end of lap 20 as we set up purple sector 3, and the guy right behind us in the Red Bull actually sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So we can tell he is pretty pacey at this stage of the race. But moving on to this next lap, we're just going to see how the gap evolves, as I said before, and we have gained 3 seconds in this one lap across the line. It looks like we are actually going to get the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, a 28.5. So that would be 1 extra point in the championship. And we've gained another 2 seconds on this lap. So we're gaining by a decent amount each lap, but another 2 seconds. But if we keep going at this pace, we're just barely going to catch him, if we even catch him at all. So and as you can see, only 1 second this lap, so the gap, the tires are starting to drop off a bit, and it does not look like we are going to be catching him. But coming on to lap 25, someone has retired, and it looks like the safety car has been brought out. This has absolutely saved our race. We are actually going to be pulled into contention with Softcom. Oh. Well. That's a shame. So it's a virtual safety car, and that does absolutely nothing for us. And as you can see, we're just going to move on to the very last lap of the Grand Prix. The gap got down to about 8 seconds. I was pushing very hard, but I couldn't make it. And just for good measure, Bo Hop steals our fastest lap, and the Haas car goes for a little spin. So as we come into the second last corner, the Mercedes of Piqui is going to win this Bahrain Grand Prix, the round 1 of season 2 of BLR, and we are going to come home in a half decent P4, and for a race where I was on the 2-stop strategy and where I had no setup, I'm not too sad about that at all. I'm actually fairly happy. So that is going to be the Bahrain Grand Prix BLR season 2 round 1. There is your video games driver of the day, Gaming McNeil's, who we had a good few battles with. And if you did like this video, make sure to press the like button and subscribe if you are new here, to not miss any of my new uploads, as I'll try to make more videos. And there is your podium. But this is More Game saying see ya.